So the first official exercise of the Pilates method is the 100. In this case, we're going to practice how we transition from that modified rollback to the 100. So we're going to find ourselves feet about hip width apart, hip to shoulder width apart, thumbs with palms on the belly of the hamstring. We're going to roll forward on our sits bones, soft chin as we lift the heart. Exhaling, we're going to curl sternum to pubic bone while on the sits bones. Then we will start to weight shift back to sacrum. Once we're in sacrum, we've gone as far as we possibly can. We're curling sternum to pubic bone, elbows are east-west, and we're pulling as wide as the arms can be long. Then we release and we continue to roll to the ground. Remember, in order to not roll off of the sacrum into my lumbar spine, we're just going to let the legs start to lengthen to kind of cantilever us, to balance us so that we can remain on sacrum all the way down to the ground. From this position here, tuck out chin, we lower the head to the floor. For our 100, we're then going to, just going to scooch down a little bit so I'm not out of the frame. We're going to make sure that we're on our sacrum. That's the main event for this exercise. Whenever we're supine in the monkey body, I consider the sacrum to be the lowest weight-bearing segment. So that's really the area of our base, the area of our focus, our stable point against the mobility that is being challenged through the choreography in the arms. So we're just going to take one knee to chest, other knee to chest. And I want you to notice, if we really take those knees into the chest, you'll notice you're really heavy in your low back. If you take it out a little bit so that the femurs are more, your thigh bones are more vertical, you'll feel how you're heavier on that bowl of the sacrum. And it's funny because you'll also notice that there's probably a bit of an arch in your low back, something that we were taught to, I feel like, years past to sort of say that that's not correct, that we really should be imprinting that low back into the floor. But what I think that does is that actually mismaps our lowest weight bearing segment. What really should be our sacrum, the keystone of our body as our base, it mismaps it into the low back. And that just causes excess pressure and, potential what I think like discompression in the lumbar spine. That at least has been my experience. So really making this about finding that bowl of the sacrum, remembering it's kyphotic, it's shaped like a bowl. We find that bowl, we take one knee up, other knee up, fingertips to sternum as we take an inhale here, and exhaling as we curl, arms long and low next to the hips. This can be our start position. If we need to do a little easier version, you can have the feet on the ground as we curl sternum to pubic bone, but making sure that you're pulling yourself down into your sacrum, maintaining a slight arch of that low back with the ribs dropping in towards your spine. Okay? So we can have that position. We can have one knee off, other knee off, knees up to the ceiling. And as we pump here, we're starting from the bony nub of the hip, up 6 inches, and we do this. We inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. We're curled up to the tips of our shoulder blades as they're lightly touching the ground, and we're keeping this connection of sternum to pubic bone curling into one another to ground us into our sacrum. And we continue to pump as we inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can only pump as vigorously as you're able to keep this base of the sacrum. So if you find yourself wobbling a lot here with any movement, make it smaller, make it slower. As it becomes more vigorous and you get used to this and you need a little more challenge, you can start heels stitched together. You can start to lengthen the legs up to the ceiling, and then you can start to lower them slightly. We only go as far down with the legs as we're able to stabilize in the sacrum. If you notice that it starts to flare your ribs and you start to tilt towards your tailbone, we've gone too far. So keeping those ribs dropped into the spine, keeping the weight in the sacrum the entire time, I can go as low as I'm able to keep that weight in the sacrum. And you'll notice it forces the stomach from pubic bone to pull up and in, keeping that curl of pubic bone sternum light touch of my shoulder blades, and I pump here. I inhale 2, 4, 5, and exhale. And in 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Why is this position important? Because you're already in a teaser in this position. You're already doing it. So as we come back down again, I keep my weight in my sacrum, and I'm hovering just above the ground. This is already a teaser position. So we pump here, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. To come out of it, we'll take knee to chest, keeping heavy in that sacrum as we roll the head down, and the feet will come down. In order to transition to our roll-up, our next exercise, we'll have the legs come long, the heels are stitched together, and then we're ready to do the same thing as we start the roll-up. We'll take the fingertips to sternum, we curl that sternum towards pubic bone, arms long, to counterweight to let the head float. And you'll notice you're going to just slightly unweight your heels so they touch feather light. The preparation for the roll-up is the same as the 100. So I'm unweighting my head and my heels, and then eventually I'll roll up in sacrum, roll to sits bone, continue through in sits bone, and then we have our roll-up series. So this is just important to understand that, you know, the human body can only make so many shapes. It's important that we're able to build a really fundamental framework of how we're weight shifting from that sacrum to sits bone, or in this case, in the 100, how we're maintaining that stable base. And by maintaining that as our structural base, our foundation, the core has to scaffold and activate in order to maintain the stability of sacrum, of that keystone of your body. So let me know how that feels in the body. And if you're ever interested in more deeply exploring the theory behind this, this is exactly what the theory in the monkey body is based in, with our rolling, where we counterweight the head and then we start to take it across the floor. So what happens is, ultimately, when we come to center at center sacrum, you're already in a teaser the entire time. Okay? So the monkey body really serves as a way for me to activate my core in 360 degrees that I can then take to a rectilinear method like Pilates and do really powerful, deep core work. So yeah, let me know how it feels in your body, and happy 100.